It is time to disassemble the layout. The layout is on 8 banquet tables. Seven of them are 6 feet by 30 inches and about 29 inches tall, and one of them is 8 feet by 30 inches and about 29 inches tall. So then all of the tables have 2-ply of poster paper on them, which is what the scenery is on. Like I've said in other videos, all the buildings and the trees, most everything is not glued down. So it's just a matter of collecting them up. So all the people and the little trash cans, any of the little detail things, I put those in one of these 1-gallon freezer bags. Then the cars I put in another box. Of course, these were slot cars here, so they went with the slot car track. And then I had another box where I put all of the buildings. These are all the paper buildings. So I kept all the paper buildings in one box and all the trees in another box. So I started collecting the trees off the layout. When I'm collecting trees off the mountain, some of them are glued, and so I'll like snap them off. Other ones are glued and I just left them on there. And I was planning on moving the mountain, and just so you know, I did move the mountain. And some of the trees stayed, and some of them came off in the move. But it was successful, so I was pretty happy about that. But still collecting up stuff off this side of the table. Picking up some of the sandstone. The sandstone I collected from down around the cabin where the train layout is going. So I wasn't really worried about saving this because we have a lot of it at the property. I moved to the next part of the layout and kind of did the same thing. First picked up the little people, little details, little street signs, trash cans, little things, put them in a bag, and then picked up the cars. All the die-cast cars, I had those in a separate box. So I gathered up those things and then started picking up the paper buildings. Put them in the box where I was keeping those. So some of the little details I put in the bag, that gallon freezer bag, and then put the other stuff in the box. Then what I'm about doing the trees. So I kind of did this the same way on the rest of the layout also. Gathered up some the trees last. That one was blue. I had to come back and get that one. Pick up the trees, put them in their box. Telephone poles, phone booths, all that stuff went in that gallon freezer bag. And start picking up backdrops. Starting to look barren. So that section and the slot car section was done. The next part was to start on what the original layout was. So first I gathered up all the people in the building, or the people in the cars and the trees, got all those off. The rest of these buildings are lit. They're not glued down, but they're wired up, so I had to unwire those. And on this side you can see what all's cleared out. I tried to save as much of the scenery paper that I could. I saved some good chunks of it, so I was pretty happy about that. But it's pretty much just poster paper, and I've got like thousands of sheets of it, so it really cost me nothing other than, you know, some grass on Woodland Scenics or wherever, decorating it how I want. Looks really bare without the trees. All the peoples are gone. So this is the bag that I ended up with all the peoples and little detailed things. Phone booths, signs, little motorcycles, bicycles. This box has a bunch of the trees. I had one other box that had some trees in it also. Over in this box is all the paper buildings. So this box didn't weigh very much at all. It was a very light box. I also collected up a lot of the scenery that I could. Anything that wasn't glued down or wasn't glued down well. Any of the rocks that were a certain color. The grassy moss. Any of the scenery stuff, I tried to pick it up and save it so I could reuse it on the next layout. All the lichen. I did go back and collect up some more also after I shot this clip. Now all the lighted buildings are off of it. All the wires are cut and removed. The next thing is to take up the track and the scenery paper. Slot car track's gone. It's boxed up. Next thing is track. This track came up pretty easy. Most of it's just held in place by the ballast and gluing the ballast in. So the track and the scenery paper and the tables came apart, and just like that it was gone. The basement looked so much different after it was out of there. My son said, "The basement looks huge now." Time for the move to Perry County, Eastern Ohio. It's fall, so the scenery was looking good on the way out to the property. Autumn colors were looking beautiful. So, that would be a good time to go off-roading in a U-Haul. Brought the U-Haul up the hill, had the train stuff in it. I really didn't do any off-roading so much, just came up the dirt road and it was a little bit wet, so it got a little slippery. It's my buddy Mick's cabin. He let me store a lot of my stuff in there while we were moving out of the house. And this cabin here is the new home of the layout. So the first trip out to the property, this is pretty much what I got out there. The tables are in place. So this is the plan that I had for the layout in the cabin. Those are the way the tables are sitting. So there are 2 6-foot tables there. That is an 8-foot table. And that's a 6-foot table. And that is a 6-foot table. So it gave me enough room in the middle, and still gave me some room to do some scenery around on the layout. So this is some of the paper that I saved, some of the paper scenery. And that was I think that was the first trip out with the actual layout. Next trip out. Now I raised the tables up. They were below the windows, and so they are all sitting up on one coffee can. So they're one coffee can higher, and that put them right up. Look at that view out the window. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I was pretty tickled about that. So that puts those tables up with those windows, and I was hoping to be able to get some cool views of the train going by the window, seeing out in the woods. You see the mountain made the trip, and it stayed together pretty well. I mean, really nothing major on the mountain came off. Some of the trees came off, but I still got them. They can be glued back on. How about that view? That would be cool. So this is where we are right now. Got the track on. I haven't really done any scenery. These things are just sitting there. And got the digital working, so I've got 2 MTH Photo Sound 2 and 3 engines running. I have one loop around, and then there's a crossover so that it could be a reverse loop also. So I did this angle here so you can see what the track is like. This is a 036 turn with the fast track. Put a little siding in the middle, and there's just some straight track, and I think that's a 36 turn there at the end of it. Of course, all of this is subject to change. Now there's one of the crossovers for the reverse. And then the other crossover is right there. Now for this little S part right here, these are 072 turns. And the 072 turns, I think it goes around to the 36 right there. That track is 042 going into the tunnel. And then inside the tunnel, that's 054. That tube track, I'm gonna make some railroad ties and use 1/4 inch. Make them look a little smaller, and I think it'll be better to scale. Now there's the crossover. There's a 72 and a 36 inside the crossover, and those are 036 on the outside of that crossover. And go back to the front part. So I'm looking pretty forward to this. I like the layout. I think it gives good opportunity for some scenery, and that's what I like to do. So here's my GP38-2, and I'll take a look around here. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. God bless.